We have Neel Patel from HB Fuller, and we've got a real exciting subject today. We're going to talk about supply chain issues. Who here has been impacted or affected from supply chain issues? Look at that, everybody. Everybody.
That's HB Fuller right there. This is Neel Patel from HB Fuller. I manage supply chain for construction adhesives. That's one of the 3 GBUs for HB Fuller. And we may manufacture products for mostly tile industry.
Okay. And what's your job over there?
As I mentioned, I'm responsible for supply chain for the business. If you ask me my job for the last 2 years, I don't even know what my job is on a daily basis, but it's to make sure we acquire adequate raw materials and transportation to manufacture and supply products to our customer and deliver to our customers.
Okay. So your job's gotten a lot more complicated.
Extremely complex. With the labor issues, the raw material issues, and transportation issues,
yeah,
it's been probably
and you're wearing a lot of new.
Much more complicated than ever before.
Yeah.
Ever before, yeah.
Okay. So tell us, let's dig into it a little bit. First of all, materials prices are going up, and wait times are going up as well.
When you say
wait times, delivery
lead times, yes,
lead times,
absolutely, yeah. So it's not only raw materials. If you think about raw materials is up, right? The pricing is up, the lead times are up, the labor's up, everything is, and the transportation is extremely challenging.
Yeah.
Because of the shortage of drivers in the market.
You're short on drivers.
Drivers and labor both.
Okay.
And that's contributing to the extended lead times that we are seeing from the manufacturers, including us.
Okay. So it's a very complex problem, it sounds like.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Because it's not only, we are the manufacturers, we acquire raw materials from our suppliers, but they're also manufacturers of the raw materials. They are struggling with the same issues that we are struggling, which is labor and transportation. So if you think about it, it has a snowball effect on the entire supply chain, all the way from the raw materials to the delivery of the finished product.
Okay. Can you give us some examples of what this looks like?
Well, I'll give you an example. In terms of cost, if you think about pre-COVID, a container from China used to cost about $2,000 to $2,500, and it would get us, we would get the material from the day we placed the purchase order to the delivery would be 5 to 6 weeks. Now it's anywhere from 16 to 20 weeks, and the cost of the transportation is about sometimes 10 times what we are paid, so $20,000-$25,000.
Wow.
Because the supply chain is disrupted everywhere, not in the United States, everywhere.
Yeah. So what have you had to do to pivot? And there's nothing you can do, really.
I think what you got to do is you got to plan way ahead and way better than your competitors.
Yeah.
Way better than your competitors. So, and that's what we've been successful in doing. We had some struggles for a few weeks, but then once we changed our strategy to start planning in a much longer horizon, we have come out ahead.
Okay.
In terms of, we've been able to meet our customer demand for almost 95% of the time.
Have you had to get creative to do that?
Absolutely.
And what small ways?
Like I said, planning horizon is significantly larger. We have also gone out and made a bold move of paying a little bit higher to acquire the raw materials, which a lot of our competitors did not do.
Okay.
We also invested in transportation by having dedicated fleet that delivers to our customers. If you look at transportation, most of our competitors, they don't have the dedicated fleet. They would go out and market and start looking for trucks. We already had trucks sitting on our docks waiting for the product to be ready. So that has given us the competitive edge.
Yeah. You're able to move quicker.
Yeah.
Excellent. How about the tile contractor or the flooring contractor that uses your adhesives? Are they going to notice any changes on their job site? Maybe in difference? We talked a little bit about the difference of certain
they are
product.
seeing absolutely they're paying higher price. That's the biggest difference, right? Like I said, for certain there are a few weeks or a few months, couple months, I would say, in 2021. I would say from May through July, depending on what kind of product they're using. So if it's a dry powder product, it hasn't. Our supply chain has not been impacted as much on a dry powder mortars or grouts. our supply chain was disrupted in liquid adhesives significantly.
Okay.
That's where we struggled the most for about a couple months.
Okay.
But like I said, once we started acquiring the raw materials at a much higher cost, after that, the only effect they saw was longer lead time for those couple months and then higher price,
Yeah.
which I don't see it going away. I think it's going to continue. The inflation is not going away.
Right, right. Well, we'll talk about inflation as well today. You were telling me as we were prepping for this, there's certain small changes that are really out of your control, and rather than, for instance, like the color of the buckets, or the color of the lids, or the size, right? The size of the pail.
Yeah. I mean, we have been able to. I mean, if you really look at it, even the customers, the distributors that are customers, they have been extremely flexible in accepting a pail with a different lid that they are not used to. So in the past, we would have used black lid. Now we could use white lid, blue lid, yellow lid, whatever we can get our
Whatever kind
hands
of lid
on.
you get.
They really don't care. The customer really doesn't care.
Right.
So
Yeah, they're interested in what's inside.
that's right.
Yeah,
The glue
yeah.
that matters. Yeah.
Well, let's dive into your wet products, if you don't mind.
Yeah. That's where we have the most challenges. Yeah.
With the mastics, the adhesives, the pre-mix grouts, all that kind of stuff. There's a lot of instability causing those price increases you've already talked about. And you've already actually answered most of this question now that I'm reading it out loud. What has H.B. Fuller done to secure availability? You already answered a lot of that.
Not only so, I think I gave you a couple of examples of what we have done. We have gone out to our suppliers and bought
Right.
materials at higher price, but we also, as a company, we have been making our polymers, some of the materials internally.
Okay.
So we have had an edge from our competitors because it's internal
Yeah.
materials. We would be able to acquire that much, I shouldn't say easily, but better than our competitors who has to go out in the market and make it, because they don't make their own raw materials. We do.
Yeah.
As H.B. Fuller, but it's a much bigger company.
Yeah. So what about the next 12, 18 months? Any forecasts that you can give us into this category?
I would tell you from the materials availability perspective, from construction adhesives perspective, I think we are set for success. We have planned out 6 months, 12 months what we want to do. I think our challenge is going to continue to be labor and transportation.
Okay.
But we've taken some actions to combat that issue.
Okay.
And I think number one, and as I mentioned, the inflation will not go away at least for next 12 months. The
Right.
challenges are here to stay for at least 6 to 12 months, if not 18 months. I think we'll be challenged through 2022 for sure, sometime in 2023.
Okay. Now, how about in your dry goods or cement products? You said it hasn't been impacted as much. How has it been impacted?
I think it's most of the impact has been for the raw materials that we import from overseas.
Right.
And obviously we have been, just like any other competitor of ours, there is a significant pressure on pricing from our suppliers, and that's going to be there because of the inflation. But our struggles have been with the overseas raw materials, which again, we have taken the same approach of going out and buying ahead, normally, which we would not have done.
Right.
We have strategically acquired, I would say, certain raw materials that has been scarce in the marketplace.
Okay.
So we're sitting on 6, 8, 9 months of inventory of those strategic raw materials that are extremely key in our manufacturing.
Okay.
So we've taken, you could call it a bet, but it's a calculated bet that we have made.
Yeah. No, that makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. Absolutely. So you're expecting, again, in the future, you're expecting not to get better, but just to continue.
I'll give you one thing that I'm thinking out loud here is come this July. So we all know the issues we are having at the ports in West Coast, right?
Yeah.
Los Angeles Beach and all those ports. There are 29 ports in West Coast, about 15,000 to 20,000 employees. July of 2022, it's a union of 15 to 20,000 employees.
Yeah.
They're up for contract. The contract is up in July 2022.
Yeah.
You know that for that big of a union, what it's going to take to negotiate the contract. Last time when they had this contract negotiation in 2014, they were shut down for 2 weeks.
Okay.
So think about all the issues we have heard and we have seen in that at the West Coast ports. You add 2 weeks of just at a minimum 2 weeks of negotiation, which I think it will be much more than 2 weeks. That's just my guess because of the inflations that we're seeing.
Yeah.
They're going to be asking more, and I think it may last for 2, 3, 4 weeks, and that's going to disrupt the supply chain even more.
Okay.
So just that alone, because 40% of the goods in the United States are imported goods.
Yeah.
Think about what's going to do the supply chain. So that's what, July is only what, 6 months out, 5 months out?
Yeah, 4 or 5 months.
So I don't think it's going away, at least not for this year.
Yeah.
Because it'll take us another 6 to 12 months to recover.
Yeah. So what should contractors do, my audience, what should they do to prepare their business? Is it a matter of just...
If you are a distributor or a contractor, if you have the cash flow to acquire raw materials that you know are finished products that you know you're going to use or you have jobs for, I would do it now and not wait till the last minute because nobody can guarantee it.
So stock some products, sell the products, get the money for it, go out and buy them because prices might go way up.
Prices will go up.
Will go
for
up.
Sure.
Yeah.
Supply chain, transportation will, and it's just my opinion. Transportation is going to be disrupted.
Yeah.
For the rest of the year.
Okay.
The driver shortage. I mean, the whole vaccination mandate in Canada. What that has done.
Right.
130,000 drivers, I think.
130?
About 130,000 drivers are just not crossing the borders now.
Yeah.
Because of it. So the other thing we have done, which I think is pretty creative, is historically we have used over-the-road transportation to deliver goods. Starting about a couple months ago, we have started using the railroad.
Okay.
So it has added the capacity that we didn't have before.
That's interesting.
And our customers have been flexible. Yeah, it adds 4 or 5 days in the transportation because you're going over the rail, but at least you are able to secure the truck.
Right.
Which in the past, if you do the status quo that you have done for 20 years, you may not be able to get the truck.
Yeah. That's, you got to innovate when their problems arise, and it sounds like that's exactly what you're doing. How about like product innovations? Because I know you have a whole, team, a whole bunch of people working on innovative products, right? Has supply issues impacted that?
Yeah. I can tell you one of the products that we have been wanting to launch, we can't currently get the packaging. It's delayed for 6 weeks. One of the products that we would like to make, we have orders for it, we can't make because there is a delay in the brand new raw material that we are trying to acquire.
Yeah.
It is impacting everyone. And it's impacting us as well. I mean, we didn't plan better. We could have planned better, but when you have a packaging manufacturer that you're buying, if there is a delay there or there is a COVID outbreak, there's a delay that's added that we didn't plan for. Yeah. And I don't know how you could plan for it.
Yeah, you can't plan for some of this stuff.
You can't plan for every event. We're trying to do our best to plan for almost every event, but not for every event.
Yeah. Well, that makes sense. And this has a direct impact on the consumers, right? The consumers of the product,
That's right.
The homeowners, everybody. What kind of problems are you seeing impacts on the consumer?
I would say the product availability and the cost.
Yeah, those two things mainly. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And if you have the labor and if you don't have the product, you're still sitting.
Yeah.
You don't have the labor and you have the product, you're still sitting. And I think both of those challenges will be there in 2022, 2023. It's not only manufacturing, but almost every aspect of the supply chain.
Okay.
Including the builders and contractors.
Yeah. So we've talked about inflation. I mean, you've kind of sprinkled it in there. Can you give us any advice or best practices for contractors, business owners to?
I don't know about best practice. I can tell you the inflation. If someone is predicting that the inflation will go away, in my opinion, inflation is here to stay. And the reason is, if you really look at every manufacturer, they have to raise the pay for the manufacturing employees and the warehouse employees.
Yeah. Because
of the inflation. Now, once you start paying at a certain level, you're not going to bring the pay back.
Right.
And it has happened at every level of supply chain, and that is impacting the pricing. So there may be some, I would say the percentage of inflation may not be as much as we have seen in the last 12 months, but it's not going away. It may slow down, but it is here to stay. I mean,
Sure.
I don't think the pricing, again, my opinion, I don't think the pricing is going down.
Yeah.
It may stabilize a little bit.
Okay. So keep an eye on it. Where is the best resources for my audience to keep an eye on? I mean, where do you, what do you read and watch?
We talk to a lot of customers and suppliers.
Okay.
And obviously, there's a lot of information online.
Yeah.
But there are sites for transportation. There are sites, right? There is supply chain index sites. You could go and look at all, read.
Nice.
There is a lot of information now that we have at our fingertips that we didn't have 15 years ago.
Yeah. Does anybody in the audience have any questions for Neel?
Not you.
All right. Well, we really appreciate you taking the time, Neel, to share these insights. This is an important topic for business owners, contractors, everybody. We've got some time here. If you want to meet Neel and pick his brain or talk to him, feel free. Neel, thanks again. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Chris. Thanks for the opportunity.